Hi, I'm James. I'm a visual artist from London, but I also work here in Madrid. I grew up in the countryside of England and then went on to study fine art at university in Wales. Um, for me, painting quite figuratively until later on I discovered abstraction. But now, yeah, visual art is working in abstraction.
What's your creative process? So, how do you go from an idea to a finished piece?
I generally like to use a sketchbook a lot. Um, they don't necessarily convert into artworks. It's just a way of moving the mind and drawing and thinking, and then just get started. It can be quite spontaneous of how things happen, um, and quite often a surprise. And sometimes not normally what I want to create, which is quite annoying, but also about the surprise. So things kind of evolve organically.
What's the most unexpected source of inspiration you've ever had?
That's good. Well, I think inspiration comes in random places. Throwing yourself into adventures and going on trips really triggers those sort of things. And especially traveling to India alone, that really brought amazing moments in my life that I always go back to as a memory of a place and the colours. So yeah, by putting yourself into those kind of scenario situations. So for my latest series, I travelled here by boat. So using that as a source of inspiration, kind of write some sort of idea, and then whatever happens in between helps.
Why art?
Why art? It was a close call becoming an actor or a painter. So when I finished school, I had the choice whether to go to college to study art or to become an actor. But because of my dyslexia, I was really nervous that I had to read scripts. So I chose paint and act in my painting, I guess.
How do you balance the commercial side of art with staying true to your vision?
It was very kind of, I don't know, when you're young and you start to paint and you finally start to see that you can paint and make nice things. Um, they're like, yeah, keep doing that, but you got to be true to yourself. And, I really found a way of describing and painting in abstraction, and your family don't like it, but, yeah, that's kind of a good sign. And then when you start to like push that more and push those ideas. Yeah, it's quite tricky because you're kind of conscious of what you're making and you don't want to conform to the system, as it were. So, yeah, it's a little tricky, that balance between commercial and being free.
If you had to give your younger self three pieces of advice, what would they be?
I think don't drink so much. When I was at uni, there's a lot of parties and drinking. I still did a lot of work, but yeah, that sort of thing took over. It's tricky with all the three questions, but maybe maybe I found work, to find a job whilst at university to fund your materials and to kind of have a separation between those things. And no regrets. Yeah, just keep, no regret for what you do. Basically.
And you recently completed a residency with Leah. How did that experience influence your practice, both conceptually and materially?
It's huge. Yeah, so Leia is the lab of experimental art in Madrid, which has been perfect because I wanted to change things, I wanted to push different things, and that's what it's for, it's to experiment. So it's huge what's happened in the last 2 months. I made 65 works and really radically changed a lot and explored different materials. So I did copolymer, which my grandfather used to make with the oils, to then using different materials like tarpaulin and tape and gloss paints and seeing how they're reacting. Um, so yeah, it's huge. It's been really good, and I think something is beginning to change with my new kind of practice in painting. So it's very exciting.
And what is your biggest struggle as an artist?
Um, Struggle to stay positive sometimes. I say because it's a roller coaster of emotions, of highs and lows, and uh, trying to keep going. But that's something I struggle with is trying to be positive with it. Cause you have good days and bad days, but yeah, it's tough out there. It's competition of artists and distractions of social media. So yeah, that's quite tricky.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to say or add?
We could say like what kind of inspired me to be an artist. So what inspired me to be an artist was when I was about 8 or 9 years old. My grandfather, who retired from a plastics chemist, he then began to do art and went round to their house and he heated up lead in a saucepan on the stove, which is slightly dangerous. And he had like a crazy studio in the basement and he got the melted lead and tipped it off the staircase onto the floor onto a canvas. And like, what is this? This is art? This is metal? Yes. And I was like, from then I loved it. You know, I wanted to be an artist that way.